St Benedict's Roman Catholic High School in Ulster is helping to lead the way in work-related learning. Supported by Warwickshire LEA, a 14 to 19 Pathfinder, one day every week it sends out its Year 10 and 11 students to an FE college to study for vocational qualifications.
We were convinced at quite an early stage that as the notion of vocational education was growing, it wasn't meant to be just for those who were disaffected. There were so many opportunities out there that we wanted to offer courses for all levels of ability. So we have had some years now where pupils, up to about 40% of a year group, is actually out of school one day a week doing a vocational course of one sort or another. We have links with several providers, for example Stratford College, who over the years have offered us courses which we feel will benefit our pupils.
St Benedict's students join those from 4 other South Warwickshire schools to take Stratford College's NVQ Level 1 in catering and food preparation.
What we've found is that the college has a positive approach to dealing with our pupils. They know they're from a school, they know they probably need a different kind of care and curriculum, but the college has been very, very flexible and shown the dedication that we would want.
Well, I think it's very important to understand the sort of ethos and the constraints under which a school might be working. I think I personally have the advantage that I worked in schools for the first 13 years of my career, and therefore I think there's an immediate sort of understanding and empathy, although schools have changed a great deal since that time. But it is important because they are very different from further education, and understanding the sorts of patterns that schools work to is important to make these sort of links work.
Denise Manley has set these Year 11 students the task of preparing a 3-course lunch. The learning environment is a professional kitchen, and chef does not mince her words.
Could you wash that first, Simon? Who's doing the profiteroles? Mayonnaise. Remember how to do mayonnaise? Here, chocolate. Can't make chocolate sauce without chocolate. Just like to remind you all, hygiene, tidy as we go, please. Instead of using your knife as a axe, point down, push down and through. Don't want to be hearing this. There's no need to hear that noise. Right, it's sort of leaving the side of the pan now anyway. Can you see? Yeah. Right, where could these be, do you think, now? Instead of being on here, in the sink. Shake it down. Right, and then scrape it down. Don't have it too overhanging. Why not? It'll burn. Have you got a cloth underneath there? No, chef, I haven't. Why not? We try and keep the kitchen environment as realistic as possible to the catering trade. It's a very busy environment and very noisy, and it can be very dangerous, so there has to be a huge element of health and safety with the students. The curriculum of the NVQ Level 1 has a lot of health and safety within the units. And they also have to do the different styles of cooking with different types of food. So we concentrate on all of that in our practical lessons, which is in the morning, and then in the afternoon we do lots of theory work.
Initially, when you actually start to teach the students from school, you forget about their age. We normally get students who are 16 plus up to 60, and the school kids still act like school kids for maybe the first term, and then they calm down and then they just blend in with everybody else. So it is a bit more difficult, and you have to keep them occupied a lot more than you would do with the normal further education students.
And where are you going to put that when you've finished with it, when you've taken out what you need?
In a bowl.
In a bowl. Good. Are you going to label it? Good. Today's date is?
13.
Yep. That's the right one, but it's too big. They need to understand that when they go out into the trade, they are going to be doing long hours, they'll probably get shouted at, and they need to adhere to all the rules that apply into the kitchens. The style I use is I try to move around the kitchen from student to student as much as I can to give them guidance and help where needed. Obviously I can judge this by observation and don't sometimes even have to interfere with what they're doing.
Stratford College is a centre for vocational excellence in catering. In a move typical of the Warwickshire strategy, the school students are given the chance to work alongside older FE students in the next stage of learning, at NVQ levels 2 and 3.
We actually have an integrated scheme where we mix the students from the schools in with our own students in the brasserie and the restaurant kitchen, so that they actually get a chance of working in what we call the realistic work environment, so they're actually doing the job that they would be doing if they were working in industry outside. During this time, this is when all the assessment takes place.
An important part of St Benedict's strategy has been to build close ties with the senior management team at Stratford College.
We had to be assured, and we wanted Stratford College to be assured, that the pupils we were sending knew what they had to do to make the commitment to the school. This was brokered by the Education Authority, and we had a head teacher steering committee. So issues like that were discussed at a high level, and any concerns that we had were raised in that forum and then passed on to the college, or equally were passed from the college to us as head teachers. I would then bring that back to my coordinator or to my pastoral care team or to my deputy head, who would ensure that any hurdles were overcome, any misconceptions were discussed and sorted out. And it's worked very well, very effectively.
I think, as with many relationships, it's a sort of personal relationship first, and once that works and you know each other well and trust each other and understand the sort of drives that each of you have, then I think it's much easier to make things happen. And certainly I think that's been very helpful, that I've met Tim, for example, on the Education Business Partnership. We meet in meetings organised by the local education authority at least once a term. And those sort of meetings just mean that you know each other as people as well as heads of institutions.
Right, dessert.
2 vocational coordinators from the school and the college are at the sharp end of things, helping to organise delivery of the courses and working together to make sure that the school students' needs are met.
What we do with Natalie and our other schools, we work very closely together in that we offer their pupils the vocational subject areas that they want in line with the scheme. And then the youngsters come and taste, have a look, choose what they want to do, and we hopefully then give them what they want and liaise with the school so that we can deliver. I think that's right.
Yeah, we have meetings at least once a term, don't we? All the teachers together, so that Sue would lead the meeting, and any queries, any problems that we might have as schools, we bring up with Sue. Minor things, but on the day-to-day issues that are quite important to children, like buses and things that they may have concerns about. But the taster days work very well as well, don't they?
They do, very much so. But it's the small things that are important. Attention to detail with youngsters are the most important thing. Once you've offered them what they want, you've then got to satisfy everything else, like worries about, like Natalie says, buses and, are they going to be all right at lunchtime, things like that.
And getting on the right buses at the end of the evening.
Absolutely.
A lot of them, this is the first time they've been catching a bus on their own, and they're very nervous and apprehensive.
Some of them are, very much so. I mean, they look huge, they look big and they look all grown up, but they're not at all, some of them. They're not very confident at all.
Right, now gradually add the egg, bit by bit. And what will happen is it will go a curdled effect, okay? It will go curdled, but that's fine. Once it starts, as it carries on beating through, it will come together.
So it's a two-way process, with the school and the college exchanging information to tailor the delivery of the course to meet individual students' needs.
Well done, Josh.
The important thing is we have the students' achievements, what they achieved at school the prior year, sort of in year 9, at the end of year 9, before they come here. So we know what sort of level they are in line with the national curriculum. So we also have individual learning plans if there are those in place. So we know those students who perhaps will need extra support. So we get that information from St Benedict's. We're then able then to look at the situation, and we do actually take on classroom assistants if the youngsters or the school is not able to support that for whatever reason.
Natalie MacLeod makes sure that Sue Bolton is provided with her students' profiles, but she also works hard to make sure the college is sent the most appropriate students in the first place.
We furnished the college with details of each of the children, their SATs results, IEPs, any other special medical forms and what have you. And then right from almost the Easter term, we start planning for the following year. And it's the correct selection of the pupils that I think is key to this. They've got to really want to do a course such as this.
Warwickshire's 14 to 19 policy delivers excellent vocational opportunities. But St Benedict's has to cope with some of the knock-on effects on the school curriculum.
One of the problems, of course, is that the pupils miss a day's school, and they will miss 5 lessons. They will miss English, Maths, Science, 3 core subjects, and we always manipulate it that way because they have several other lessons in those subjects in the course of the week. And we will give them catch-up time in school on another day which is monitored and supervised by either the SWIFT coordinator or by the special needs coordinator or teaching assistants. So there's always somebody there to guide them and support them. There's no point in just giving them an hour to sit in the library because they need guidance. They need to know what the work that's set by the teachers means. Again, they will need support, and of course some of the pupils might have special needs. They will need more support. So those systems are our backup.
St Benedict's and Stratford College provide a compelling example of the benefits of schools and colleges collaborating to deliver vocational learning. Nigel Briggs is convinced it's the way forward.
Well, I think that there's a range of advantages. There's obviously advantages for the pupils themselves, that they see a different institution, they do a vocational course which they couldn't easily do at their own schools. But there are other sort of broader advantages too, in that the staff who work with the further education college get to understand it better, the staff in the further education college get to understand schools better, and that helps progression in general.
We're talking about 1 Gen 1.4 here. PC4, that's the performance criteria number 4. Question being, what would you do if a customer left his or her glasses behind after lunch service? Any ideas? Simon?
With strong support coming from the LEA, links between schools and FE colleges in Warwickshire are growing, with schools reaping the benefits of strong vocational provision and colleges seeing improvements in recruitment and retention. So what's the best way for a school to foster links with an FE college?
I would look at the courses they offer with the principal of the college and decide what would suit us and ask the principal to ask his staff what they could offer in the hope that there would be something that could be matched. And I would also have to look into someone to look at the financing, because that is the major issue, and the continuity of financing. And we're talking about European funding, we're talking about possibly LEA funding, government funding, and it's a minefield out there. The waters are very muddied, and it's hard work. And I think the educational authority sometimes has more power and control in those areas than 2 individuals working together.
Start small, meet a few people in the college, get to know them, make one course work for a relatively small number of pupils, and then build on that.